I put clothes on just for you guys.
Okay, so let's start with the classic from our pre-game interviews, Marry, Date, Dump. Do you know this game?
Also known as Court, Wed, Slay.
That was the head.
Yeah.
Well, one of those.
One of
and
those.
Also known as, you already used the F-bomb, Marry, Kill. But that's a little too intense for this.
So you have 3 characters. You pick which of them you would date or have a short-term romantic thing with, which of them you would marry, have a longer romantic thing with, and which of them you would kill.
Or in this case, let down hard.
Yes.
Okay.
Which may involve killing.
Yeah, you can do that if you want, but I don't know that you will want to. Okay, so you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
You're familiar with what the
they have to be one of
are.
Each.
One of each for those 3
people who just pick the same thing every time. It's like, that's not how this works. Kill. Okay, so first round, your 3 choices are Storm Silverhand, the Symbol, and Illustriel. Am I saying her name right?
Yep.
Cool. Marry, Date, Dump.
Okay. Well, I would hate to do this to any of those 3 esteemed ladies, and it would be more than my life is worth to try it. Any of those 3 things with any of those 3 ladies. But for the safety of the planet, the kill would be the Symbol. Your Honor, or officer. I had to do it, officer, for the safety of us all. And the romantic relationship would be Illustrial. I'm now going to drop a secret of the realms. I was asked this once by a lawyer in Toronto who had just had his first child, and he and his wife were both Realms fans, and they'd chosen Illustrial to name their sweet baby girl. And they wanted to know,
author bingo in there.
Where did that name come from, Ed? I haven't seen it. And I said, I made it up. And they said, oh, what are the meanings behind it?
Oh, damn.
I'm afraid right now.
Being nice and not wanting to bust his bubble, let's put it gently, I did not tell him I took the word lust and put feminine beginnings and endings on it, because I thought they're bouncing little baby girl. That might not. Okay. Anyway, so it would be Illustrial that I would like to have the romantic candlelit dinner with, and then play hide the candles. There you go. Is that tasteful enough? And,
yes.
And it would be Storm.
I don't see the town crier yet, so I think that's reasonable.
And it would be Storm that I'd want to have the long-term relationship. Not that I wouldn't mind a candlelight dinner with Storm. In fact, maybe 40 candlelight dinners, maybe 60 candlelight dinners. We'd run out of candles. But the point is, I think Storm would be at your back when you needed your back covered. She'd clean up when you were being sick, and she'd cook when you couldn't cook, which for me is most of the time. I'm more a microwave this. But I mean, she would be your lifetime companion. She could do everything. Illustrial could do everything, but it'd be like, clean up your own messes.
Oh, okay. Next round.
Okay.
Villains edition.
Villains edition.
Oh.
Manchun, Halaster Blackcloak, Telemach Tanthul, Marry, Date, Dump.
Wow.
Switching gears!
I kill them all. I kill you all! No.
Okay. No, you have to marry one of them.
That's right.
Okay. So.
Mass murder is not an option.
Being as I am batshit crazy myself, can I say batshit crazy? Oh, I guess I just did.
Well, you did twice.
Okay, so being as I'm batshit crazy, and so is Halaster, that's who I'd marry, because it would be laugh a minute, and the rest of the planet might not fare too well, but Halaster and I, in a male metrosexual way, of cosmopolitan glide, would be at least exploring new things all the time. And
It's true.
the
It would
one I
never
killed,
get dull.
yeah, exactly. Telemont is the one who I would axe as fast as possible because,
That's probably, again, for the sake of the world.
yeah,
Yeah.
because the man he just doesn't care about the implications of anything. He just wants his own way and destroy anything that gets in it. And the planet isn't quite large enough for more than one of those, and I'd like it to be me. No,
So you would immediately throw his city at another city and just call it good. I get it.
did that.
Yeah, I know you did.
Have the T-shirt. And that would mean that it would be Manchun that I'd have to have the short romantic relationship with, as I discussed with Manchun. Actually, there's the NDAs actually do apply here, active NDAs as we
Oh,
speak.
boy.
Oh,
boy.
that's exciting.
But yeah, Manchun. First of all, Manchun is the most subtle manipulator of all of them.
He
In the
plays the
same,
long game.
yeah, like
Mhm.
Jurgal, who was doing it with his fellow gods, Manchun. I mean, he said, "I'm tired of constantly having this lineup of assassins coming after me because that's how they tested the new wizards at the beginning of this interim. So they were always trying to off somebody." And Manchun was getting tired of it. He couldn't get his work done. He was missing calls. He had post-it notes stuck all over him, and these assassins were still coming, and he couldn't get anything done. And every time he took his clothes off because he had one of his gal friends coming in, 16 assassins were coming in through the windows with knives. And he says, "Hey, the only knife that's unsheathed in this room right now should be mine. Get out of here." And you see, it just didn't, but he found the solution, thanks in somewhat to the beholders talking in his ear. Just make Fazul think that Fazul's beaten him. And Fazul takes over and puts the target on his own back, and then gets inundated with all the phone calls and post-it notes and, "Oh, could you just sign this? Oh, and could you look, we have to hang 13 of them, but which 13?" All the daily business of this interim. And so Manchun could go back to his behind the scenes plotting. And Manchun's behind the scenes plotting concerns all sorts of realms and where he wants them to be in 25, 30 years time. So he's snipping somebody's throat here. He's maneuvering somebody into marrying somebody else over there. He's sponsoring somebody so his merchant business doesn't fail over there. So he's just making all of these realms drift towards the way he wants them. And I wouldn't mind sitting down and getting drunk, um, far more so than our very decorous dinners that we used to have at Palomino's, where we did not drink under the table. But I mean, with Manchun, it would be like I would just make sure that I had all the antidotes beforehand. So every poison he slipped didn't matter.
Yeah.
I could just go on smiling and saying, "The poison adds a bit of salt, don't you think?" And we could talk, and I'd say, "Okay, tell me why. I know what you're doing already. I just want to know why. What was the thinking behind this? What's the thinking behind that?" Because that would be fascinating. I would understand the realms a lot better than I do now if I did that with Manchun and got away with it.
I love
Then you'd
that.
spend the rest of your life figuring out which of the things he told you were lies and which were not.
I love how we're asking these goofy questions and you're fitting in some really interesting realms lore at the same time.
Yeah.
Ta-da! That's my life.
I have
Real good.
two more. One is the sound-alike option. Suni, Salune, or Salune, Anastra. I don't know how to say those two differently.
Mm-hmm.
Which one?
So
Mary
the
don't.
goddess of the moon or the ghostly chosen Elminster, yes.
Yep.
That's what you mean? Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And the first one?
Suni,
Sune.
the goddess of love.
The goddess of love and pleasure.
New
Okay.
fire hair.
So.
I mean, I feel like there's a little bit of a gimme here, but maybe not.
Yeah.
Is Sune really the marrying type? That's what one has to ask.
You know something? Saluna is the one I'd want to marry, though.
No.
And I want her to give me, turn me into wraith form so we could go all the same places and do all the same things, and make love on top of the spire because we're weightless, all that fun stuff, and go where she goes and find out, because she has the most what I would call earthy life experience, as in down to earth. I don't mean as in smutty. I mean as in mortal, and the most in common with me. Sune, I'd like to have. No, that would overload me. I'd like to have I'd have the romantic moonlight dinner with Saloon, goddess of the moon, and I'd give Sune the chop. Unfortunately, because you see,
gotta
when you're
think of your heart, man.
yeah, exactly. Guys like me, we just go straight into overload. You know,
you're gorgeous, but you're just too much.
I was actually asked years and years ago to describe what Sune was and who Sharess was before a room full of female TSR staffers and sponsors, as in other toy companies who might license. And I thought, how do I do this tastefully? How do I tell them Sharess is the goddess of lust and pleasure, carnal perfection and good performance, and Sune is just like, wow, boom, let's go nuts. And I thought, oh yeah, there's that exercise show. In those days on TV, there was an exercise show where this well-dressed, handsome hunk in a leotard would speak to ladies out of the television set. Madge, you're not bending over. Come on, let's all do this. And there'd be music anyway. So there was this one thing that he had a guru who was on, and she used to lie on her back and manipulate things with her feet, like medicine balls and stuff. And she had this cardboard. I can't remember what it was. It was like a log, a cylindrical thing in shape, but she would turn it with her feet while lying on her back. And I was thinking, okay, if Sune was going to make love to a mere mortal, she would do it with her feet, lying on her back, and she'd still be overloading you. And I just want to defeat someone like that.
That's pretty impressive.
Sorry.
That's okay.
You can edit it out in post. Oh my God, he made a dad joke. Kill him.
Okay. I was gonna call this gods, but one of them is squeaking in with slightly less impressive credentials. So we're gonna just
gods and squeakers.
Gods and people who think they're gods, or close enough. Okay, so Jurgle, Torm, Zugmoy.
Oh, okay. Is the killing? Well, I should say to protect the planet, I should say that Jurgle should get the chop, but I can't. It's gonna be Zugmoy that gets the chop because I'm tired of things growing on things.
Yeah.
I have a fridge for that. But enough science experiments. So that's the other thing. I want my reading for pleasure, and I want my gaming table to be as far removed from my painful experiences in academia as possible. And science, I do not wish to be reminded of any science experiments except the one in grade 8 where the gal spilled the acetic acid all over herself and her jeans began to dissolve. It was fun. And we all had to pour water all over her in a heck of a hurry to save her life, officer.
Very generous of you.
Yeah, yes, yeah. But anyway, aside from that, I do not wish to be reminded of science experiments. So, Zugmoy gets the chop. So that leaves me with who do I marry, and who do I have the romantic candlelit dinner with?
Yep.
And I'm going to have the romantic candlelit dinner with Torm. Because I think that's about enough, as much of him as I can take. Law and order and all this stuff. Okay. Oh, that's the dessert fork. Sorry. And so we used to. Okay, fine. And oh, you mean I'm not? Oh, what do you mean I can't wipe my face on the tablecloth? And then Jurgle is the one I'd have.
Only one drink. What do you
mean? There
you
go. Yeah.
What do you mean?
What does size matter? You see, I got away with that years ago when I first became a heart patient. My GP said I should have a beer a day, just a beer. Well, She is Canadian, so she does know that the beers are like 3 times as alcoholic as American, but she neglected to say what size beer. And
that seems important.
when ice beers started, they made one that came in a 2-liter bomb.
Whoa.
So that was my one beer of the
Oh my
day. Anyway,
God.
so
Boy.
okay, and the one I'd marry would be Jurgle, because keep your enemies closer.
Mm.
And the other thing is, he'd be interesting. Boy, would he be interesting company. Okay, why are you doing that to me, Jurgle? Well, you see, it'll be a moment of indescribable pleasure for you, but it will mean that Rashomon falls in 87 years. Oh,
Oh,
what
that's
if I
okay,
don't
that's fair.
want Rashomon to fall? Then you better stop me doing it.
I do want to pause and note for the viewers, the reason that I cheered earlier was because when we were coming up with this, I tried to bet Erik $5 that Ed would say he'd date Manchun. Erik didn't actually take up that bet, so I'm not $5 richer.
I
was
said
right.
no bet.
Yes, I may be versatile, but many of these choices have to be for the good of the planet.
Yeah.
I'm throwing myself on my own sword, so to speak.
You made the sword, so that's what happened.
Yep. Yes. As you slide down the razor blade of life,